What if I told you that back in 1979, a man made one decision that shocked his entire community, changed the lives of 9 young black girls forever, and sparked a story so unbelievable that people across America still talk about it to this day? Would you watch until the end to see how those girls grew up, where life took them, and the breathtaking twist that came 46 years later? Stick with me, because this isn't just another story. It's a journey of love, sacrifice, betrayal, and redemption that will leave you in tears. And before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and join our family, because we bring you stories that the world almost forgot. Stories that will keep you glued to the screen until the very last word. Now, let's begin. The story begins in a small American town in 1979, where a middle-aged man named Charles Whitaker lived a quiet, solitary life after the sudden loss of his wife. He was white, in his 40s, a mechanic by trade, and many in his neighborhood considered him reserved, maybe even a little strange. But one day, while driving past a rundown foster home on the edge of town, Charles saw something that would change his life forever. 9 black girls, ranging in age from 3 to 13, played barefoot in the dusty yard, their laughter hollow, their clothes torn, their future uncertain. These were children society had already given up on, victims of poverty, abandonment, and a system that treated them like numbers on a list rather than human beings. Charles parked his truck and just sat there watching them, something in his heart breaking wide open, a voice inside whispering that he couldn't just drive away. He later said that in that moment, he felt as though God himself had stopped him, on that road, against all odds, against the whispers of neighbors, and the outrage of his family. Charles decided he would adopt not 1, not 2, but all 9 girls. The local authorities thought he was insane. People called him reckless, even dangerous. What kind of single white man in 1979 adopts 9 black girls? They sneered. But Charles didn't care. He sold his truck, renovated his old farmhouse with his own hands, and began the paperwork. It took months of background checks, endless court hearings, and protests from social workers who said one man could never handle 9 children. But somehow, through determination and a stubbornness that shocked even the judge, Charles Whitaker walked out of that courtroom in the winter of 1979 as the legal father of 9 little black girls, who now clung to him as if their lives depended on it, because they did. What followed was a whirlwind of challenges: racism from neighbors who couldn't accept what they saw, poverty that forced Charles to work 2 jobs, and nights when he went hungry just so his girls could eat. But something remarkable began to happen inside that farmhouse. A family was born. Asterisk. The next decade was the hardest yet most beautiful chapter of their lives. Imagine 9 girls, each with different personalities, traumas, and dreams, all growing up together under one roof, with a man who had no guidebook, no wife, and barely enough money to keep the lights on. There were tears, fights, and moments when Charles thought he had failed them. Some of the girls rebelled, sneaking out at night, clashing with teachers, and asking painful questions about why their real parents had abandoned them. Others blossomed quickly, excelling in school, joining sports teams, and defending one another from the cruel racism of 1980s America. But Charles was always there, showing up to every game, every recital, every detention meeting at school. He worked 16-hour days, fixing cars by day and cleaning offices by night, so that his girls could walk into a store and pick a dress without feeling shame. Still, tragedy struck more than once. One of the girls, at 15, nearly fell into a life of drugs and gangs, pulled back only by Charles storming into the streets in the dead of night to bring her home. Another struggled with depression so deep she once ran away, only to return weeks later with a tearful letter that read, "Dad, you were the only one who wanted me. I can't forget that." Slowly, the world began to notice. The story of a single white man raising 9 black daughters started appearing in local newspapers, then television. By the 1990s, Charles and his girls had become a symbol of love, defying prejudice. Scholarships arrived, churches donated food and clothes, and as the girls grew into young women, one by one they began achieving dreams that seemed impossible. One became a lawyer, another a nurse, another joined the military, while 2 went into teaching to give back to children who came from broken homes just like theirs. Charles never remarried, never took a vacation, never lived for himself again. His life became their life. But behind the triumphs was always the question, would this fragile family hold together once the girls left the farmhouse? And when Charles fell ill in the late 1990s, it looked like the story might end too soon. Fast forward to 2025. The farmhouse is still there, weathered and old, but inside its walls hangs a photo, Charles Whitaker, surrounded by 9 beautiful young women in caps and gowns. Today, those girls are no longer girls, but accomplished women spread across the country. One runs a hospital ward in New York, another owns a thriving law firm in Chicago, one is a decorated army officer, 2 became published authors, and another, the one who almost gave up, now runs a non-profit for foster children in memory of the man who saved her life. They are wives, mothers, leaders, but no matter where they go, they all come back to that farmhouse every summer, to sit around the wooden table their father built with his hands. Charles passed away peacefully in 2018, at the age of 82, surrounded by all 9 of his daughters, who held his hands as he whispered his final words. "You were never my girls. You were always my daughters." At his funeral, hundreds came, many of them strangers who had read about him years earlier, all touched by his decision in 1979 to rewrite destiny. And the twist. In 2025, a documentary crew tracked down the sisters for a reunion interview, and what they revealed shocked the world. They had secretly pooled their resources and built a multi-million-dollar foundation in their father's name to support abandoned children across America. The man who once worked 2 jobs to feed them had unknowingly raised 9 women who now fed thousands. Their story went viral, sparking conversations about race, love, and what family truly means. And if you're watching this right now, maybe you're wondering, what would the world look like if more people did what Charles Whitaker did in 1979, if they looked past color, past judgment, past fear, and chose love instead? Because 46 years later, his legacy lives not just in 9 extraordinary women, but in every child their foundation saves.